Hi, my name is John Sheedy, and this is my final project for the future of cities. So I wanted to start with kind of background on how kind of the thought process of future of cities started and what kind of people believe is the way kind of this scientific thought started. So when talking about future of cities, you must start with how to produce these ideas. And Dr. Weaver broke it down into three stages. The first being the ability to deal with problems of simplicity. The next being ability to deal with problems of disorganized complexity. And the last being the ability to deal with problems of organized complexity. So as far as cities go, people kind of want to make it a problem of organized complexity and get rid of kind of all of the disorganization within cities. So that's kind of the end goal for people in city planning. So for physical dimensions and kind of the structure of cities, central place theory is very popular idea. It's the idea that people will spread out equally, but areas with more resources will develop further, which is very prevalent in today's society. And then there are the concentric zones. So it goes the CBD to a transition zone, and then to independent workers, then to the suburbs, then to the zone of commuters, and then to the urban fringe. And then after that comes the rural areas. So these are kind of the zones of the urban areas of the world. And having greater mobility around these cities will greatly affect the way these cities are built. For social dimensions, there are two main deciders on social interaction within cities: the people living in the government and the government residing over these cities. People decide if they want to live in cities, who they want to interact with, and where specifically within these cities they wish to reside. Now, the government can infringe on some of these ideas, and changing city structure or public transportation are prime examples of that. And the biggest and most corrupt being redlining of cities, which directly affects who people interact with. So it's kind of limiting their possibilities. As far as the economy goes of cities, from a global perspective, economies worldwide took a massive hit during COVID, which greatly affected a lot of cities worldwide. Lots of businesses had to shut down because they couldn't afford to stay closed, and this greatly lowered the GDP of a lot of cities. A positive trend to come out of the pandemic, though, was remote work, surprisingly, because people with those high-paying jobs in those wealthier areas actually moved away from them, and are now boosting economies of cities that beforehand would not have had this ability to do so. For environment and globalization, larger cities are kind of the epicenters of climate-related issues because of the amount of pollution they produce. In the future, cities will have to shift to more sustainable ways of living, whether that be using renewable energy or making your carbon footprint smaller. There are two kind of mainspring ideas to globalization. The first being technology, which has greatly accelerated innovation within globalization, and then the wave of deregulation, privatization, and liberalization of these capital flows within cities. The biggest problem relating to globalization is that wealth is centralized in certain areas and needs to become more spread out, and this is kind of uniformly true throughout the entire world. And then the biggest factor to the future of cities is technology. Technology is going to push the envelope for innovation within cities because of things such as AI. AI has greatly helped city planning with software such as GIS, and society will rely on technology to fix the problems within cities such as overpopulation, public transportation, and city planning. Technology will be essential in building the future of cities.